welcome to Stay Hungry. I'm Fergus, and on today's episode, we're going to be discussing how you can identify whether your website is due for an update or a refresh. So, a lot of these things are quite simple actually, but it can easily get away from you if you're busy running your business. Your website can often take a back seat, and if it's working, you might just want to leave it alone. And for a long period of time, maybe that's been okay, but it's always worth a check to see if your website's actually performing at all, as efficiently as it could, because if your website works as fast and efficiently as possible, that's better for you and that's better for your customers. So, number one, and this is probably the first thing that would come to your head, site speed. Now, there's loads and loads of things that can happen to a website over time that may slow it down. That could be adding loads and loads of content. If you keep regularly updating your website and maybe you're not getting rid of the old stuff, or you don't have a good way to optimize the data size of all this content you're adding to your website, over time, that's going to drag the site speed down and down and down until maybe eventually it's going to become noticeable, and that's not what you want, because if a customer comes to your website and it's slow, they might just leave. In fact, they likely will. So what you can do is just go to your website, do a hard refresh on your browser, and then just move around your website. See how quickly things load. Go back to the home page, see if it's faster after the first load, because that's a good thing. And then just see if it's usable. And if it's not, then you need to go talk to someone about either fixing that problem, or maybe it's time for a complete new website. Number two, another very easy one to identify if you just go have a play, is check if anything's broken visually. Sometimes things break, sometimes plugins update and they change how things work on certain platforms, and it's important just to make sure that everything still looks how you need it to look. And also on top of that, if it still looks good, because design has changed on website design. It does this all the time. New trends, new features, new functionalities come in. And that influences how your website should be designed. So if you look at some competitors' websites and they're a lot slicker, obviously faster as well, if they're running faster, and just sleek. If they look more impressive than yours, maybe it's time for a visual update, or again, a fresh website. Now finally, this one's a little bit harder to identify, but very important. Maybe when you built your website initially, there weren't many people in your industry who had very big, high-performing websites. So you were ranking really well in local search terms on Google. Now maybe some of your competitors have cottoned on and they've built websites, and now maybe you're not ranking as high on those search terms on Google as you'd like, or maybe you've just come down. Maybe you're on page 2 and you were on page 1 when you first launched. Not great. So maybe you can either look at updating your SEO strategy, or again, maybe it's time to build a website from the ground up with an SEO focus. So yeah, those are my three kind of areas to take a look at to see if your website is due for an update or a refresh. Obviously, we are great at building performance-heavy websites who can both look good and get you ranking well in Google. So if you'd like to talk to someone about getting a fresh website, or even maybe just seeing what's wrong with your website and why it's not performing how you need it to, get onto our website, check out our Discovery Call page, and have a chat with us. We'd love to talk to you. Thanks very much.